We live in a very crazy world, all right? We live in a time where deception has become increasingly more common. And I'm not just talking about people, the everyday lies that people experience. I'm talking about scamming. Scamming has gone to a whole nother level. And one of the things that are very popular in today's time is romance scams. Okay. Now you could have romance scams on dating apps. I remember there was some kind of Tinder swindler. I don't remember. I don't know the whole story. I never dived into it, but I know I heard about it and various other examples. And so it's an unfortunate occurrence that's happening to a lot of different women. And some of you may feel like, well, that would never happen to me. I'm good. I wouldn't fall for that. Cool. But the reality is, even if it's not you, it could be your sister, it could be your friend, it could be your mother. You'd be surprised. And it's not simply because people don't necessarily know better sometimes, but if they're caught at a very vulnerable moment in their life, if they, maybe they're feeling lonely, whatever the case may be, they can become more susceptible to falling for these scams. And so I felt that it was important that I make a video giving some tips on how to navigate this. And when I say navigate it, how to ensure you don't fall into that trap, because the tools that these scammers are using are getting better and better. Real quick, and I'm going to get more into it a little bit later, but I had one person who they were being scammed, or an attempted scam, by someone who was impersonating me. And the woman who was, the victim in this situation, fortunately, she was able to message me on social media, and she sent me a video that the scammer sent. And it was an AI video of me saying like, "Hey, honey, how you doing? How's your day?" And I was shocked. I was like, I can't believe it's gotten this sophisticated to where now they're using AI videos to impersonate people. So again, it's not always the simplest thing to not fall for. But let's get into how to make sure you avoid this. Now, let me also give another story. I got plenty of my own, but I'm going to give one from somebody else I know that it happened to. Because I know a lot of other people who are public figures. And again, there's a lot of scammers impersonating public figures to make women fall for them. Well, this individual was someone who also speaks at events and things of that nature. And he told me how one time, he had a woman, he was doing a meet and greet afterwards. And the woman comes to him. And when he asks the woman, "So what's your name?" She says to him, "Oh, you know my name, stop playing." And he's looking like, what are you talking about, right? But he kind of just brushed it off and just continued to talk or whatever. That was that. And he said the woman was acting kind of funny, but she wasn't flat out saying what the situation was. Anyways, after he was done talking to everybody, he noticed the woman was kind of hanging around, I guess trying to wait to basically connect with him afterwards. But he got out of there, right? Only to later on in that week get hit up on social media by relatives of the woman asking him if he's in a relationship with her. And he's like, I don't even know who that woman is. What are you talking about? And it turned out that for the last 6 months, she was under the impression she was in a relationship with him because there was a scammer impersonating him. So one of the things that you have to remember, if you ever get sent a DM or a message by any public figure, influencer, or whatever, you need to go back to their primary page. This is tip number one, because one of the things that the scammers will do is they will contact you from a different page and they'll say, "Oh, this is my private page. Oh, this is my fan page." They'll come up with something like that. And my thing is this: if someone like me was really trying, number one, I don't have any other page. So let me just get that straight right now. I got one page on each platform except TikTok, YouTube. I got two. This main page and Stephan Speaks Clips, and I got the one for men. TikTok, I got 2, Stephan Speaks and Stephan Speaks clips. And then everything else is just 1, okay? Instagram is only 1 page. But here's the thing. Even if I was trying to hit you up from a different page, if you simply said to me, hey, just so that I know it's you, can you send me a message from your main page or send me something, right? Directly. It shouldn't be a problem. Okay. And that's just one of the layers of security that you can use. There's some other things you can use to call them out, but I should be able to hit you up from my main page. You also need to make sure, like, and that's how some of the women who have been victims from people impersonating me were luckily able to find out. Or some women have hit me up in advance. They will say, hey, do you have a second page or do you have a third page? Somebody reached out to me claiming they're you. And I was able to tell them no. So they were able to escape any scamming from that point. So always verify. 1, find the main page. All right. And then, yes, request that they message you something from the main page. Because my thing is this. I don't want to rule out the possibility that a public figure or influencer may ever hit one of y'all up. I don't know, right? I'm not in their business. I cannot speak for them. But I just want to make sure that you do your due diligence so that you don't fall into that trap. All right, so now another tip so that you can avoid these romance scams. Just always remember, never send money. Okay? So don't get me wrong. The scam isn't just about whether you lose your money or not, right? You're losing time. You're getting your hopes up. You know, you're having someone deceive you, and there's a lot of different ways they can try to take advantage of you. However, one of the common themes, if not the most number one theme, is they're at some point trying to get money out of you. Okay? And so these individuals, and this goes beyond just impersonating somebody. You can have somebody, like I've seen situations where sometimes I might post something on my Facebook and I will notice there's a man who's responding to a bunch of different women's messages, trying to get them to inbox him. Now, whenever I catch it, I block the person. I delete them. But the reality is that I can't catch it all the time. My team may not always catch it. So who knows how many people have responded to that, right? Again, either this random guy using this fake picture or maybe even impersonating me. I've had people impersonate me on YouTube. Either way, let's just say it's just a random guy who's showing interest, right? And many times this random guy happens to be in a different country. Okay. I'm not going to pick on any individual countries. I'm just going to say there's a lot of different countries they tend to stem from. And at some point in creating this romance with you, it's like, oh, I want to come see you. Why don't you send me money for a ticket to come see you? Or I need help paying such and such off before I can see you, or whatever it is. They come up with all kinds of excuses. And yeah, unfortunately, there have been women who have fallen for it and send them money. And even going back to the whole influencer thing, I remember a woman told me that she once fell for a scam where I can't remember the rapper that she said supposedly had reached out to her. Whatever. I'm not going to pick a rapper, but let's just say it's a famous rapper. And she ended up sending like $5,000 because the scammer presented it as like some special meet and greet thing that she can pay for, all this stuff, which, by the way, even when it's an offer of something like tickets, meet and greet, whatever, all right, you should be able to go to that. That person should have a main verifiable website where you can go purchase merchandise or whatever from them. It should not be, oh, send me a Zelle or a Cash App or whatever the case may be in order to get this thing. Like, no, there should be a proper channel in order to do that if it's legit. And you should be able to, again, verify it's legit. So either way, money is usually at the root of what the man or the individual is trying to accomplish. Because listen, don't get it twisted. Sometimes a scammer is a woman who's acting like a man. Like it's crazy on the different things that people will do out there. But the point is, when money is involved, do not send it. And here's the thing. If someone is trying to pursue you romantically, if a man's trying to pursue you romantically, you having to send him money, even if he was a real live person in your city, I'm not a fan of you sending that man any money. You guys are not in an official relationship. What has he done for you to be pouring back into him with finances? That's risky business. Now, I will say this. If for some reason you feel compelled to give any man money, scammer, not a scammer, whatever, do not give what you are not prepared to lose. So if giving a few $100s is no sweat off your back, maybe you got it like that, that's your choice, right? But do not overextend yourself and put yourself in a position where you're going to feel very hurt, cheated, and it could leave a lot of scars from that experience. All right, so let's keep it going. And another important tip so that you don't fall for these romance scams is make them do a video call, okay? So, as I mentioned in the beginning, well, let me rewind for a second. One of the common themes from a lot of these scam stories I've heard about is that the woman never actually saw the man, right? Never met him in person first, or again, FaceTimed or something, which was always alarming to me because it's like, well, why? Again, I get it. Some people just want to believe wholeheartedly that this is that individual or that this is a real situation. Because again, it's not just impersonation. Sometimes it's just a regular guy trying to take advantage of you. And so my thing is, for the purpose of at least the impersonation part, you've got to be able to verify they are who they say they are. Now, as I mentioned to you in the beginning of the video, these people can now use AI videos. And it just dawned on me. I'm sorry. Even FaceTime is not good enough anymore. So, okay, use the FaceTime. However, if I am correct, I think I saw someone on TikTok saying there's an app that they can use the AI on the FaceTime. So like they were presenting themselves like it was a guy and he was presenting himself as a woman on the FaceTime. Okay. Now I don't know if it was FaceTime or maybe some other video call. So you'll have to research and look into that. But even video calls aren't 100% guaranteed, or at least if maybe right now you're still safe, but there may come a time where even that they're able to manipulate it. So it is my thing is this, as long as you don't send the money, right? Going back to the money part, then at least even if someone's trying to trick you, you won't come out of your pocket and lose anything. But you want to ask for video calls and really you want to meet people in person before you go too far with them. And here's the thing, scam or no scam, I'm a firm believer in we've gotten too comfortable with the phone and online stuff. So I'll just share this with you. Me personally, let's say I came across a woman online and I want to get to know her. I don't want to spend 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever, months on the phone before we can meet each other. No, I want to get to meeting as quickly as possible. Like, I would have no problem if I have to fly to somebody to go on a first date so that we don't spend weeks talking first. I would rather do that than to be doing all this phone stuff, because the phone stuff can be deceptive in a lot of different ways. And in person is where we need to see what we really have here. If there's a potential for anything, and we're verifying that there's a mutual physical attraction. There's no catfishing going on, none of that kind of stuff. The last thing you want is to get so emotionally invested and attached to then eventually, if you do get to meet the person when it's not maybe a flat out scam, but then find out the in-person energy is not the same, or the in-person attraction is not the same. And I've seen people kind of get stuck in those situations. So to me, it's always about meeting in person as quickly as possible, and that will help minimize the chances of you falling for a scam. All right, now a couple more things I want to mention. So the next tip with dealing with these romance scams is, if you ever have or experience this, make sure you take time to heal from it. All right. So there's some of you watching this video where you've already been a victim. There's no way around it. We can't change what happened. And some of this might be stinging you because, it's bringing back the memories of what you went through with that situation. And again, the scams can go beyond just impersonations. It's regular individuals who are just trying to use you and take advantage of you and, get you to put stuff in your credit for them and all kinds of wild stuff. But either way, don't allow that situation or that experience to discourage you, to make you think that you don't have a chance for receiving what you truly desire, receiving that relationship that you truly want in your life. You have to make sure that, just like any other hurtful experience, you take a moment to heal. You make sure that you release all that negative energy, but don't just take a moment to heal from that specific situation. Focus on healing from all things that you've experienced up to that point. Because the reality is this: if you find yourself or have found yourself falling for a romance scam, there's a very good chance it started with you having some things you haven't resolved in your life. And by taking the time to address those things and correct it, you will strengthen your ability to not fall for not just a scam, but just unhealthy relationships and toxic situations. So do the healing process. If you need assistance with that, check out my book, Love After Heartbreak. You can go to loveafterheartbreak.com and get your copy, and just follow the steps I've laid out in there for you. And trust me, it's going to change your life. All right. And last but not least, to wrap up this video, to help you avoid falling for any romance scams, please always talk to God. If you watch my videos, I'm all about encouraging you to connect with your spirit, to pray, to allow God to lead you in certain situations. And what happens sometimes in these scamming experiences is that your desire and hope for it to be real can blind you from the red flags that are there, or from doing your due diligence, or from taking that time to go to God and letting Him tell you. Many times people are going to God praying for it to work out, praying for this to be real, rather than asking, is this real? Is this legit? Should I be entertaining this man? What's going on here? How do you want me to handle this? And by taking that step, that can save you from a lot of headaches and a lot of disappointments. So practice getting comfortable listening to God, hearing God, going to God, seeking His guidance, so that, again, it's not just about not falling for romance scams, so that you don't end up entertaining men you don't need to be entertaining in general. Because at the end of the day, I want you to end up in the right relationships or in the right situations, and being able to receive the blessings that God has for you. And the more you can connect with your spirit, the more you can receive those things in your life. Thank you for watching this video. I pray it was helpful to you. Be sure to watch this one over here on Stop Trying to Figure Him Out. Do these 7 things instead. Talk to him. Now, I know that sounds so simple and easier said than done, right? And I already can hear some of you like, well, these men don't want to talk